When a restriction enzyme cuts a DNA fragments into two parts or more than two parts, it can produce two kinds of ends. Either it can cleave the phosphodiester bonds which are exactly opposite to each other and produce blunt ends, or it can cleave the phosphodiester bonds at staggered positions and produce the sticky ends. Now, in blunt ends, there is no complementary part in either of the fragments which can come uh, which allows the fragments to come closer to each other, whereas in the sticky ends we have this unpaired part in both the DNA fragments which are complementary to each other. So when we give any link conditions, these two fragments which have sticky ends, they have more chances of coming closer and forming again the again forming the hydrogen bonds with each other, so they can anneal easily, unlike the blunt ends. In the sticky ends, the restriction enzymes, they can produce two kinds of overhangs. For example, here this enzyme, restriction enzyme, is EcoR1. Now EcoR1 has the recognition sequence GAATTC, and it makes the cut between G and A in either both the strands between G and A. So when it makes the cut, so in this strand it will cut here and in this strand it will cut here. So after the cutting has been done or digestion has been done, we get these fragments like this. Now if you notice in these fragments, the upper fragment, this is in 5 prime 3 prime, whereas the lower segment is 3 prime 5 prime direction. Now in this fragment, the 5 prime end of this fragment has unpaired bases attached to it, so it acts as a overhang. It is overhanging the double stranded DNA. Similarly, in this also it is the 3 prime and 5 prime. So in both the strands, it is the 5 prime end that is overhanging. That's why we call such kinds of sticky ends as 5 prime overhangs. Whereas in some of the enzymes, they may cut in such a way, for example here PST1, it has cut in such a way that it is the 3 prime that is overhanging in this strand as well as in this strand. So these kinds of ends, sticky ends produced, they are also known as 3 prime overhangs.